curved observation deck of Orbital Hub, Faye offered a panoramic view of the gas giant below, its swirling storms painting the station's chrome corridors in hues of orange and violet. Alien clerks of a dozen species bustled through the gleaming halls, their appendages manipulating holographic sorting displays with practiced ease. The air hummed with the low-frequency chatter of 100 languages, the scent of ozone and synthetic lubricant thick in the recycled atmosphere. Human Ambassador Daniel Reyes adjusted his tie as he stepped off the transit platform, his polished shoes clicking against the alloy floor. The stares were immediate, some curious, most dismissive. A pair of Zenthari bureaucrats slithered past, their 4 upper limbs gesturing in a way that made their disdain clear. Their exoskeletons shimmered with patterns of bureaucratic authority, the equivalent of pressed suits in their culture. Ambassador Reyes, a voice called from behind him. Daniel turned to see Postmaster Yorlax approaching, his 6 tentacles undulating in a practiced rhythm of superiority. The Zentharist's primary eyes, large and lidless, fixed on him with the warmth of a tax auditor. "I trust you received our transmission?" Daniel forced a smile. "I did, that's why I'm here." Yorlax's secondary limbs flicked in amusement, a gesture Daniel had come to recognize as the alien equivalent of a smirk. "Then you understand the decision is final. The Galactic Postal Union cannot continue servicing human territories. The inefficiencies are unacceptable." A nearby drone whirred past, its mechanical arms sorting parcels with inhuman precision. One crate, marked with the insignia of Earth's Sol System, was diverted to a secondary conveyor labeled non-compliant. Daniel kept his voice level. "With all due respect, Postmaster, our systems meet every GPU standard. We've passed 17 consecutive audits." Yorlax's tentacles stiffened. "Standards change. Ambassador, your species lacks the infrastructure for reliable interstellar delivery. Lost packages, delayed transmissions, it reflects poorly on the Union." A snicker rippled through the nearby clerks. A Vorak overseer, his scaled fingers tapping a datapad, muttered something in his native tongue. The translation implant in Daniel's ear rendered it as primitives playing courier. Daniel's jaw tightened. This isn't about infrastructure. This is about the Proxima Accord. The deck went quiet. Even the drones seemed to pause. Yorlax's exoskeleton darkened, a Zenthari tell for discomfort. "The GPU isn't a political entity. Ambassador, we do not involve ourselves in petty disputes." "Petty?" Daniel almost laughed. "You cut off communications to an entire species because we refuse to bow to the Centauri trade bloc. That's not politics. That's a blockade." A holographic display flickered to life above them, projecting the GPU's latest efficiency report. Human sectors glowed red, labeled suboptimal. Yorlax gestured with a primary limb. "The data speaks for itself. Your colonies are too scattered. Your routing protocols antiquated. The GPU cannot be responsible for your failures." Daniel stepped closer, lowering his voice. "We both know the real failure here. The Centauri don't want us trading with the outer systems. They don't want us talking to anyone outside their control. And you." He glanced at the watching aliens. "You're just their delivery boys." Yorlax's exoskeleton flushed a deep violet. "Anger. This meeting is over. As of today, all human-bound mail will be returned to sender. If your species wishes to communicate, you may petition the Council for reinstatement in 5 standard cycles." The dismissal hung in the air like a verdict. Around them, alien clerks returned to their work, their postures radiating smug satisfaction. A crate labeled medical supplies, New Terra slid off the main conveyor, redirected toward the incineration chute. Daniel didn't move. "You're making a mistake, Postmaster." Yorlax turned away, his tentacles flicking in finality. "The GPU does not make mistakes, Ambassador, only logistical adjustments." The observation deck's massive viewports dimmed as the gas giant eclipsed the system's star, casting the station into artificial twilight. Somewhere in the shadows, a human-made package, marked fragile, vanished into the bowels of the sorting facility, never to reach its destination. Daniel Reyes straightened his jacket and walked toward the exit. Behind him, the Galactic Postal Union continued its work, blissfully unaware of the storm they'd just unleashed. The air in the Mars Postal Outpost tasted like recycled dust and desperation. Captain Lisa Hayes kicked an empty ration can across the floor, watching it clatter against the dented metal wall. The terminal screens flickered with the same error message they'd shown for weeks. Delivery refused by GPU network. Return to sender. Raj Patel hunched over a cracked display, fingers flying across the keyboard. Sweat beaded on his forehead, despite the outpost's failing climate control. Another one, he muttered. Neo Sydney Children's Hospital, emergency pediatric respirators, marked undeliverable. Lisa's fist clenched. She could already picture the tiny faces those machines were meant to save. That is the 17th critical shipment this month. Across the room, a junior courier named Jenkins pried open a returned crate. The stench of spoiled medicine hit them like a punch. Sir, the insulin. His voice cracked. It is all expired. Raj didn't look up from his screen. GPU claims our packaging doesn't meet interstellar standards. His chair creaked as he leaned back, rubbing his temples. Funny how only human shipments get lost or damaged. Lisa stalked to the viewing port, orbital hub. Faye glittered in the distance like a mocking jewel. They're strangling us. No mail means no medicine. No machine parts. No family messages to keep morale up. She turned sharply. Where is the latest manifest? Jenkins handed her a tablet. The list scrolled endlessly. Thousands of parcels marked with the GPU's crimson rejection stamp. Lisa's breath caught at item Faye, the Titan colony vaccine shipment. That was supposed to go out 6 weeks ago. Raji's dark eyes met hers. Titan's got that new fungal outbreak without those doses. I know. Lisa's comm buzzed. A haggard-looking medic appeared on screen. Captain, we've got 3 more cases here at Ares Station. Any word on those antivirals? Lisa's jaw tightened, still delayed. The medic's face fell. We're down to last resort treatments. The transmission cut out as the ancient comm system failed again. Silence hung thick in the room. Then Jenkins spoke, voice trembling. My sister's on Titan. She just had a baby last month. Raj slammed his fist on the console. Sparks flew from an overloaded circuit. This isn't bureaucracy. It is genocide by paperwork. Lisa scrolled through the manifest again, stopping at a cluster of military shipments. All marked returned. Security risk. Her fingers traced the screen. These were bound for the outer colonies. Defense grid parts, emergency beacons. She looked up. They're cutting us off from help before they make their move. A new alert flashed, an incoming GPU drone. The spherical delivery bot hovered outside the airlock, its polished surface gleaming. Lisa cycled the lock. The drone deposited a single envelope on the floor before zipping away. Raj picked it up, scanning the contents. His face went pale. GPU Directive Faye, effective immediately. All human origin mail requires special handling fees. He looked up. 10,000 credits per kilogram. Jenkins choked. That is more than our annual budget. Lisa took the notice. The GPU seal shimmered under the flickering lights. At the bottom, Postmaster Yorlax's personal signature curled in elaborate Zenthari script. They're pricing us out of the galaxy. The comm crackled back to life. A new voice came through. Deep bristled. Captain Hayes, this is Commander Briggs at Fleet Ops. We've got a situation. Lisa grabbed the mic. What now? Long. Range scans showed GPU ships massing near the Proxima relay. They're inspecting every human vessel. A pause. They just impounded the courier's Dawn, tore open all the mail pods, claimed they were looking for contraband. Raj's eyes narrowed. They're setting up a blockade. Lisa stared at the rejection notices plastered across the wall. The GPU's excuses in a dozen languages, incompatible systems, security concerns, administrative errors, all lies. She turned to her team. Get me a secure line to Earth Command, and Raj, pull every record you can find on GPU sorting protocols. Raj blinked. Why? Lisa's smile didn't reach her eyes. Because we're going to mail them something they'll never forget. Outside, the GPU drone vanished into the starry void, carrying humanity's latest rejection notice back to its masters. It didn't notice the small tracking device Lisa had slipped inside its casing, nor the way Mars' sole remaining warship, the USN Vengeance, powered up its engines in the distance. Jenkins watched the drone go. What do we do now? Lisa picked up a discarded shipping label, smoothing its crumpled edges. We remind the galaxy of an old human saying. She pressed the label onto a fresh crate. Neither snow nor rain nor heat nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. The label's adhesive held firm, just like humanity would. The GPU sorting facility hummed with mechanical precision, its cavernous interior stretching further than the eye could see. Conveyor belts crisscrossed the space like metallic rivers, carrying billions of parcels from every corner of the galaxy. Alien drones zipped through the air on anti-grav units, their scanner beams flickering as they processed each item with inhuman speed. Jake Morrison adjusted the stolen Zenthari uniform, the fabric stretching uncomfortably over his human frame. The breathing mask disguised his face, but he still walked with the careful steps of a predator in hostile territory. His boots clicked against the polished floor as he followed the maintenance drone deeper into the facility. Authorization. A hulking Vorak overseer blocked his path, its reptilian eyes narrowing. Krell's scales gleamed under the harsh industrial lighting, his massive claws tapping against a data pad. Jake held up the forged clearance chip. Maintenance inspection. Sector Phoebe. Krell snorted, a puff of acrid breath escaping his nostrils. Humans, always breaking things. He waved a claw dismissively. Make it quick. We have quotas. Jake nodded and moved past. His pulse steady, the drone led him deeper into the facility, past towering stacks of crates and humming sorting machines. Then he saw it, a sealed section marked hold, non-compliant shipments. The drone beeped and floated away, leaving Jake alone. He palmed the lock override and slipped inside. The room was cold, sterile. Rows of human packages lined the shelves, each stamped with the same red mark, returned to sender. Some were torn open, their contents spilled across the floor, medical supplies, personal letters, data drives, all discarded like garbage. Jake's jaw tightened as he picked up a shattered frame. A family photo, the glass cracked, a child's drawing of Earth. He set it down carefully, then moved to the far wall where a conveyor belt fed directly into a massive incinerator. A fresh batch of human mail rolled toward the flames. He lunged, slamming the emergency stop. The belt screeched to a halt, the packages trembling at the edge of oblivion. Problem. Soft skin. Krell stood in the doorway, his bulk blocking the exit. Four-armed drones hovered at his sides, their weapons humming to life. Jake straightened. Just checking the system. Seems there is a malfunction. Krell's laugh was a deep, grating sound. No malfunction, GPU policy. He stepped closer, his claws flexing. Your species sends too much, wastes our resources, so we streamline. One of the drones extended a manipulator arm, plucking a package from the belt, a child's toy. It tossed it into the incinerator without hesitation. Jake's hands curled into fists. Those are medical supplies, family messages. You're killing people. Krell shrugged. Not our concern. Your colonies are too scattered, too primitive. He gestured to the drones. Dispose of him too. The drones surged forward. Jake moved faster. His hand snapped to his belt, thumbing the impulse. A silent burst flared, and the drones shuddered, crashing to the floor in a shower of sparks. Krell roared. Lunging, Jake sidestepped, driving his elbow into the Vorak's throat. The alien staggered, gagging, and Jake followed with a brutal kick to his knee. The joint cracked, and Krell went down with a bellow of pain. Jake grabbed him by the crest of his skull, forcing him to watch as the incinerator roared. You want efficiency? He yanked Krell's head up, making him meet his eyes. Humanity specializes in streamlining. He dragged the alien to the control panel, slamming his clawed hand onto the override. The conveyor belt reversed, spitting the human packages back into the room. Krell snarled. This changes nothing. The GPU will. Jake silenced him with a fist to the jaw. The Vorak crumpled, unconscious, breathing hard. Jake activated his comm. Hayes, I found our missing mail. Lisa's voice crackled through. All of it. Enough to prove deliberate sabotage. He stared at the incinerator, then at the piles of discarded human lives, and enough to justify what comes next. He grabbed one last item from the belt, a small, unopened letter marked to Earth Command, urgent, slipping it into his pocket. He turned toward the exit. The GPU had made their decision. Now humanity would make theirs. The USN Vengeance slid through the void like a shadow, its stealth systems humming at maximum efficiency. Inside the cramped bridge, Captain Ryan Blake studied the holographic display of GPU Central Command. The station glittered like a jewel against the black, its docking arms busy with the comings and goings of alien freighters. Status report, Blake said, his voice low. Weapons Officer Chen tapped at his console. All warheads prepped and loaded, sir. Outer casings match standard human mail packaging, even got the fragile stickers right. A grin tugged at Blake's lips. Good, let's make sure they get the message. The cargo bay below was a hive of quiet activity. Marines in black fatigues moved between rows of unassuming crates, each one carefully labeled with human postal codes and innocuous descriptions. Medical supplies, handle with care. Agricultural samples, perishable. Diplomatic correspondence, priority. Engineer Raj Patel crouched beside one of the crates, running a final diagnostic. Yield is set to EMP burst only, enough to fry their systems without cracking the station open for now. Lisa Hayes, her postal Marine Corps insignia gleaming under the bay lights, folded her arms. You sure this won't escalate? Blake stepped off the lift, his boots clicking against the metal grating. They escalated first, Captain Hayes blocking medical supplies, letting people die because of paperwork. His jaw tightened. This isn't just payback, it's a lesson. Chen chuckled, adjusting the settings on his console. Gotta admit, to read something poetic about it. They refused to deliver our mail, so well deliver theirs. A soft chime echoed through the bay. Patel stood, wiping his hands on his jumpsuit. Warheads are live. Timers sync to detonate 30 seconds after the crates are opened. No backing out now. Blake nodded. Then let's move, helm. Plot the drop-off trajectory. Stealth approach. I want those crates on their doorstep before they even know we were here. The Vengeance's engines thrummed as it edged closer to GPU Central. On the view screen, the station grew larger, its defensive grid a lattice of glowing energy. Shield harmonics? Blake asked. Chen's fingers danced across his console. Scanning. Got it. Their mail docks are on a lower frequency. We can slip through if we stay tight. Then do it. The ship dipped, skimming just beneath the station's primary sensor array. The cargo bay doors hissed open, revealing the star-studded blackness beyond. One by one, the crates were nudged into the void by magnetic pushers, their trajectories calculated to drift lazily toward the GPU's receiving docks. Hayes watched them go, her expression unreadable. Hope they like surprises. Patel smirked. Oh, they will, right up until the moment they don't. Aboard GPU Central, the automated sorting drones detected the incoming packages. Standard protocol dictated immediate scanning, but the crates bore all the proper human markings, routed through back channels, flagged as diplomatic priority. The drones relayed the data to their Vorak overseers, who barely glanced at the alerts. Krell, the reptilian supervisor, lumbered past a bank of monitors, his tail flicking in irritation. More human garbage, he muttered, eyeing the feed. Just incinerate it. A subordinate hesitated. Sir, these are marked for the council's attention, direct from their ambassador. Krell snorted. Fine, send it to the holding bay. Let them deal with it. The crates were hauled inside by robotic arms, stacked neatly in a secure chamber. No one noticed the faint, rhythmic beeping coming from within. Back on the Vengeance, Blake exhaled slowly. Packages delivered. Chen cracked his knuckles. Now we wait. The timer ticked down 30 seconds, 20. Inside GPU Central, a low-ranking Zen-3 clerk finally got curious. She reached for the nearest crate, prying open the lid with one delicate tentacle. Her eyes widened. The warhead inside beeped once. Then the world went white. The GPU Central Command Station glittered like a jewel in the void, its smooth, crystalline surfaces reflecting the light of a nearby star. Postmaster Yorlax floated in the zero-gravity council chamber, his tentacles idly manipulating holographic reports. Councillor Vexis stood nearby, her crystalline body refracting light in smug patterns. Another successful quarter, Vexis chimed, her voice like shattering glass. And not a single human parcel processed. Efficiency ratings have never been higher. Yorlax's eye stalks twitched in amusement. Who would have thought denying their mail would be so profitable? Their colonies are crumbling without supplies. Soon they'll beg for reintegration on our terms. A low chime echoed through the chamber. A junior clerk, a spindly Zervian, skittered in on too many legs. Postmaster, an unscheduled delivery has arrived in Bayfay human origin. Yorlax's tentacles stiffened. Impossible. We blocked all their shipping lanes. Vexis pulsed with amusement. Perhaps they finally learned to use proper labeling. Let's see what pathetic plea they've sent us. The two floated down the transit tube, flanked by armored Vorak guards. Bayfay was one of the station's largest receiving docks, usually reserved for high-priority diplomatic cargo. Now it held a single cluster of crates, each stamped with the insignia of the United Earth Postal Service. Scan them, Yorlax ordered. A drone hummed forward, its sensors washing over the containers. Scan complete. Contents registered as correspondence materials. Paper-based, no hazardous signatures detected. Vexis let out a crystalline laugh. Paper, they've resorted to primitive pulp. How quaint. She gestured to a guard. Open one. Let's see what desperate words they've. The moment the Vorak's claw touched the crate, a soft beep echoed through the bay. Then another, then a chorus of them, rising in tempo. Yorlax's eye stalks shot wide. That's not paper. The crates unfolded like blooming flowers, revealing sleek metal cylinders inside. Blackened lettering glowed to life on their surfaces. Priority mail, handle with care. The beeping became a single sustained tone. Alarms shrieked across the station. Shield generators whined to life half a second too late. The crate's outer shells disintegrated, revealing the payload beneath. Not explosives, not plasma warheads, but something far worse. MP canisters, a Vorak guard lunged, but the first wave hit before his closed. Lights died. Gravity failed. The station plunged into darkness, its systems screaming as the electromagnetic pulse raced through every circuit, every conduit, every arrogant alien system that had ever dismissed humanity as backward. Yorlax tumbled in the sudden zero, his tentacles flailing. Containment protocols. Activate backup. Another wave hit. The backup generators sputtered and died. From the void outside, a transmission cut through the chaos. Captain Blake's voice, calm and clear. Broadcast on every surviving frequency in the sector. You refused to deliver our mail, he said. So we delivered ours. The station's main viewport flickered weakly, then displayed the exterior camera's last image before they fried. A human stealth frigate, the USN Vengeance, hanging silently in the void. Its cargo bays yawned open. Empty Vexis crystalline form dimmed. They didn't even board us. They just paid the postage, Yorlax whispered. Somewhere in the dark, another crate beeped. The alarm screamed through GPU Central Command like a dying animal. Postmaster Yorlak's tentacles flailed as the station's AI blared warnings in 17 languages. His central eye swiveled toward the main view screen, where the innocuous human mail crates floated just outside the docking bay. "Shields!" Yorlak screeched. "Raise the..." The first crate split open, silent, smooth, like a birthday present. Inside, polished human steel gleamed under the station lights. A single red light blinked once, twice. Then the universe turned white. Captain Ryan Blake watched from the bridge of the USN Vengeance as GPU Central lit up like a supernova. Not with fire, not with destruction, but with a web of crackling blue energy that raced across the station's hull. Every light died. Every thruster sputtered. The massive orbital fortress went dark, its shields collapsing like wet paper. EMP Warheads confirmed detonation. Weapons Officer Chen reported, fingers dancing across her console. All primary and secondary systems on GPU Central are offline. Backup generators failing cascade. Their comms are... A grin split her face. Jammed with our mail. On the station, Councillor Vexis stumbled through the darkened corridors, her crystalline body flickering with panic. This is impossible. Human technology is supposed to be primitive. Their weapons, a human voice boomed through every speaker, every comm channel, every personal device in the sector. Captain Blake's transmission cut through the silence like a knife. "Attention, Galactic Postal Union, you refused to deliver our mail, so we delivered ours." Yorlak's tentacles knotted around a broken console. The humans hadn't fired a single kinetic round. No plasma, no antimatter, just mail, special delivery. Outside, the remaining crates drifted closer. Their outer shells peeled away, revealing sleek human drones. They latched onto the station's hull, their mechanical arms unfolding with surgical precision. "Breach detected in Sector Fey." A Zenthari technician warbled. They're drilling into our main data hub." Yorlak lunged for the emergency transmitter. His tentacles slipped on the controls. "Call the fleet," scrambled defense. A drone's metal face appeared on every screen. Its glowing red eye stared directly at him. "Priority message for Postmaster Yorlak," it intoned. "Delivery attempted 3 times, recipient unavailable. Final attempt now." The drone's chest panel slid open. Inside, a single warhead beeped. Across the galaxy, every species with a comm receiver heard the next words. Not from Blake, not from any human, but from their own panicked GPU officials, screaming as human drones marched through their halls. "Tracking number confirmed," the drones chorused. "Your signature is required." On the Vengeance, Blake leaned back in his chair. The GPU's own postal code scrolled across his screen. Every route, every hub, every secret depot now laid bare. Chen whistled. They really should have read the fine print on their service agreement. Blake tapped a key. The drones stopped. The galaxy held its breath. Then, in perfect unison, every human drone spoke again. "Would you like to upgrade to express shipping?" Silence. Then, from GPU Central, a single, shuddering transmission. "Yes," Blake smiled. "Good choice." The drones retracted their weapons. Their storage compartments slid open, this time filled with actual mail, medical supplies, letters from families, data chips with years of backlogged communications. Chen watched the first drone gently place a package into a trembling Zentharist's tentacles. "Think they'll finally learn?" Blake turned the Vengeance toward home. "One way or another," he said, "humanity always delivers." Outside, the GPU's own postal ships hung dead in space, their engines offline, their comms hijacked, and painted across every hull in glowing human script, a single phrase, "Return to sender." The Galactic Postal Union's central hub had never looked so vulnerable. Where once gleaming towers of automated sorting arms and shimmering data streams had dominated the orbital skyline, now only patched up scaffolding and nervous repair crews worked under the watchful guns of human warships. Ambassador Daniel Reyes floated through the newly christened Human Priority Docking Bay. his polished dress boots clicking against the magnetized deck plating. A year ago, they'd turned him away at these very doors. Today, 12 armed postal marines in black and gold uniforms flanked him, their rifles conspicuously unholstered. Ambassador Reyes, wheezed Postmaster Yorlax, his once proud tentacles now dull and twitchy. The Zinthari bureaucrat floated on an anti-grav disc, his many limbs clutching a data tablet like a lifeline. We have reviewed your proposal for reintegration into the GPU network. The council has voted unanimously to beg. Reyes interrupted, smiling as he adjusted his cufflinks. Behind him, a fresh shipment of human mail crates floated by on repulsor carts, each stamped with the new Terran Postal Service insignia, a clenched fist gripping a lightning bolt. Funny how things change when your entire communications grid gets emptied back to the Stone Age. Councillor Vexus's crystalline form flickered with agitated colors. This is highly irregular. The GPU has governed interstellar mail for 8 centuries. You can't just... Already did, said Captain Lisa Hayes, stepping forward in her crisp postal marine uniform. Her gloved hand rested on the sidearm at her hip. While you were busy losing our medical shipments, we built our own network, faster ships, better encryption. She tapped the TPS badge on her chest. And unlike you, we actually deliver. A shudder ran through the alien delegation. Yorlax's primary eye stalks drooped. The disruptions to commerce have been catastrophic. Entire trade routes have collapsed without human colony exports. The Andromeda sector is threatening secession unless what? Reyes leaned in. Unless you swallow your pride and admit you need us. He gestured to the observation window, where a sleek human courier ship, the USN Swift, docked with a fresh payload. You had one job, Yorlax, move boxes from A to B, and you couldn't even do that without politics getting in the way. Deep in the station's bowels, an alarm blared. A GPU drone malfunctioned, spilling a cascade of packages across a conveyor belt. Human workers in armored exoskeletons moved to intercept, their mechanical limbs effortlessly sorting the mess, while alien supervisors watched helplessly. See that? Engineer Raj Patel called from a nearby terminal, his fingers flying over holographic controls. Your system's still glitched from our little correction. Face it, you need our code patches just to keep your routers from melting down. Krell, the hulking Vorak overseer, growled from the shadows. His reptilian claws flexed around a broken sorting arm. This is an outrage. We will not be dictated to by the species that logistic to you. Captain Ryan Blake's voice echoed through the chamber as he strode in, his black uniform bearing the new insignia of the Terran Postal Command. Behind him, a squad of Marines wheeled in a very special crate, the same model that had once carried humanity's response to the GPU's ban. The aliens recoiled. Blake smirked. Relax, it is just mail this time. He popped the lid, revealing neatly stacked data drives, shipping manifests, route optimizations, and, oh yeah, the terms of your surrender. Yorlax's tentacles spasmed. Surrender, we are the Galactic Postal Union. We don't surrender to the guys who just rewrote your entire rulebook. Reyes tossed a small device onto the table. It projected a hologram of the Milky Way, now crisscrossed with bright blue lines, human shipping lanes. We've got 14 new deep space sorting hubs operational, 322 dedicated courier ships, and thanks to your little ban, we own 90% of the Andromeda sector's mail traffic. He leaned forward. So here is how this works now. You follow our protocols. You honor our priority tags. And if one single human package goes missing again, he nodded to Blake. The captain tapped his wristcom. Somewhere in the depths of the station, a dozen human-made warheads, now permanently installed as mail-sorting accelerators, hummed to life in their silos. The aliens froze. Understood? Reyes asked sweetly. The GPU Council exchanged glances. Then, one by one, their representatives bowed, tentacles, claws, and crystalline facets dipping in submission. Yorlax finally exhaled, his eye stalks sagging. Priority human mail will be processed with utmost efficiency. Reyes clapped his hands. Glad we had this chat. He turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and one more thing. He flipped a small object to Yorlax. The postmaster fumbled it with his tentacles, a simple Terran postage stamp, emblazoned with Earth's continents. Next time you think about losing our mail, Reyes said, his smile never reaching his eyes. Remember what happened last time you pissed off the postal service. And from that day forward, every alien postal worker checked human packages twice.